This episode of Rick and Rick Rule the World is brought to you by Taskin, the first name in ultra stylish, premium quality travel gear, like the exquisitely designed Taskin One expandable backpack. With 9 practical variations, the Taskin One is always the right size for wherever life takes you next. Save 30% on your next purchase when you use the promo code R&R Take 30. That's R&R Take 30 at taskinsf.com.
Next up on an all-new Rick and Rick,
F9 goes full throttle as Black Widow aims to bite into its box office.
Facebook's ubiquitous ad machine invades Oculus virtual reality games.
Driving Disrupted makes you crash your Lexus NX 4.6 to drive home a point.
Man, don't text and drive, kids. Plus, Boston Dynamics' new robot dog pees beer on command, and a whole lot more.
And it all starts right here, right now.
On one show where everybody loves a swift Rick to the head.
And everybody rules the world.
Hey, welcome one and all to an all-new episode of Rick and Rick Rule the World, a show that's chock full of news and views on the worlds of marketing, media, tech, and pop culture. I'm Rick Matheson, and I am joined, as always, by my good pal, Morty. Rick Wooten. How you doing, Rick?
I'm good. I'm good. So does that mean you're the alcoholic grandfather that's constantly drinking?
Seems about right. I really have never actually seen that show before, so I
That's
really have
awesome.
no idea. So I take it the scientist guy is Rick and the young guy is Morty.
That's correct. And in fact, I this is it wouldn't have been a show that I would have ever watched. I'm glad I did. I actually think it's pretty well written, and they take their time to kind of develop the stories. In fact, it doesn't come out at the regular cadence you'd expect it to because they literally do take their time. But anyways, but my kids were really into it when they're a little bit younger, and so they pulled me into it. But yeah, so it's basically you've got this scientist grandfather who's I don't know if he's an alcoholic, but he's always drinking or eating something that he's tripping on, and he grabs his grandson and they go off on these crazy adventures, and that's what the whole show's about.
Gotcha. I have to tell you, so talk about meanwhile, 1 year later, I went to the supermarket without a mask on the other day, and it was a surreal experience. And I think I was the only person not wearing a mask. So I think there's definitely still anxiety out there. And frankly, I probably should still be wearing a mask. It was liberating, but kind of surreal.
Yeah.
And to top that off, I went to the gym without a mask on.
Oh, now I'm
Yeah.
jealous. Yeah, I would tell you, I went to the grocery store the other day, and so here in Santa Clara County, we've pretty much opened back up, but the majority of the stores, the stores can choose their own path, right? They can choose to require a mask or not. But the vast majority of them say if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. If you aren't vaccinated, please wear a mask. And I think that's an interesting, cool compromise. It's offering trust. It's probably trust that maybe is not well placed, but it's still there. So I the last couple times where I got into the grocery store, it's like I'm not sure if I should or not, and so I just wore the mask. I went to a restaurant, like a breakfast place, nothing special. Maybe last weekend, just or whenever it was, right after it opened up. So maybe that wasn't over the weekend, and I didn't have my mask on, but all the wait staff still did. And I went back to the same place this morning, and nobody had masks, including the wait staff, and that was the first real surreal experience that I've had, where all of a sudden nobody's got the mask on. But it's good at the same time. It starts to feel like life's kind of getting back to normal a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, here's hoping. All right. Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Rick and Rick Rule the World. So, every episode, we kick off with some kind of pop culture geekiness that has hit the Rick and Rick radar this past week or two, followed by the good, the bad, and the marketing. And we finish it all off with a round of Rick and Rick loaded questions to test your knowledge of news and trends in the aforementioned worlds of marketing, media, tech, and pop culture. And first up, it's Rick and Rick Radar Love, starting with a return to the Cineplex. So, Marvel's Black Widow
Nice.
is expected to bite into somewhere between $65 million and $90 million in ticket sales at the now slowly reopening box office when it hits theaters on July 9th. Now, according to Screen Rant, Rick, early box office projections have the latest Scarlett Johansson adventure beating out F9. the ninth installment of the ever
Mhm.
popular Fast and Furious franchise, which is expected to come somewhere between 50 million and 70 million. Have you been back to the movies, and are you looking forward to seeing either of these two movies?
Yeah, so I am absolutely looking forward to getting back to the movies. We've talked about this. In fact, I do this Cloudflare TV show, and one of the questions I like to ask folks is, what is the movie you're the most excited about when you go back, when we can actually go back to the theaters? And a few people have brought up Black Widow. It's actually in the list. But I'm actually interested in seeing both of these, and I wouldn't mind seeing them in the theater. We had that thing happen just before COVID where the theaters were starting to shift already from more of the traditional theaters we grew up to more of a dine and drink at your seat kind of theater, right? They're becoming a little
Right.
more like first class experience. And so it's going to be really interesting now to go back after COVID and see how that intersection happens, where maybe there is a little more room and maybe we do get better service and maybe the tickets are more expensive, but it becomes more of a treat to do as opposed to something you do every Friday and Saturday night. So I'm super excited about it. I'm open to seeing either one in the movie theater. I don't have any plans to at this point though. How about you? Where do you stand with all that?
First, it's funny. I was going through some old stuff and somehow, some way came across a ticket stub for the last movie that I saw in the theater in March of 2020 before the world shut down.
Oh,
Can
cool.
you remember what that movie would have been? In fact, we may have seen it together. I can't remember.
No, I
We
don't.
definitely reviewed it.
I don't.
The Birds of Prey was the last movie that I saw in theater.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's cool.
crazy. Yeah, I'd like to see both of these movies. It will be interesting to go back to the theater. I'm not sure if Black Widow's box office includes Disney Plus because I believe it's opening both in theaters and on Disney Plus, and I want to say it's a special price. It's not like all subscribers get it, but I could be wrong. I'd like to see both of them. I've heard good things about Black Widow. I haven't seen any reviews or any buzz around F9 yet, but it looked like so much fun that it'd be impossible to turn down.
It is a Premier Access movie, so it costs $29.99 to watch at home.
Okay, so I'm wondering if they're factoring that into her total, the total box office for Black Widow.
I would think that they would.
I would imagine that they do. Now, my understanding is if she does reach that $90 million mark, the Black Widow it stands a chance anyway of being the number one movie of summer 2021. I don't think there's anything else out there between these two movies that is expected to top them. So it'll be interesting to see if that is indeed the case. 90 million, I think, would have been a good weekend before, not a great one,
Yeah,
but right now, hell, it's actually amazing.
yeah, totally. Well, I mean, even the fact that we could be, having that debate over, say, Furious 9, Fast and Furious 9, uh, considering it's the ninth movie installment in
Yeah.
an action series, the fact that it's expected to do that well is absolutely amazing.
Whoever tops the box office this summer, Boston Dynamics has a dog that probably ready to drink to that or get you a drink to that. I think this was from The Verge. A new robotic dog built by Boston Dynamics will pee beer into a glass for you on command. Not making this up, folks. The K in canine now stands for kegger. I don't know if folks are familiar with these Boston Dynamics robots, but they're truly terrifying. They are right out of the Terminator movies. They can do anything and run upstairs, and most of them appear to be built for battle and things like that. But this particular one, and it says this guy just happened to
Yeah.
get a hold of one. I don't know how that happens, but he took it home for the weekend and taught it how to pee beer into a glass, or at least attempt to. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah. A YouTuber, I forget what his name was, got a hold of one of these and basically attached a Raspberry Pi camera system with a unit to aim the beer at the cup. And he strapped a keg and basically a CO2 can to the top of it, has it walk around trying to pee into solo cups. It's absolutely hilarious. This was one of those not safe for work kind of moments. The guy's got a total potty mouth, and he's being overly dramatic the whole time, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. Now, but to your point, you can tell this thing is not well integrated because if you've seen any of the videos of these Boston Dynamic robots, they kind of are constantly moving to maintain their balance. which becomes quite the issue if you're trying to guide it to pee in a solo cup. So that's spoiler alert.
Real humans can barely do that, let alone robotic dogs.
Yeah, and by the way, they cost $75,000, so it's not like these robots are super cheap. So, somebody had some fun with it, and it's just basically a fairly sophisticated drone. It's a walking drone instead of a flying drone, and so you can buy these and they're expensive, but yeah, honestly I'd love to have one just to see all the people in town run away as it walks down the
Yes.
street.
Yeah, if you need the soccer field for something or you want the beach cleared, just buy one of these things, have it walk out there. I'm thinking most people would scramble. Nothing good comes from a Boston Dynamics robot showing up.
Oh, totally.
We've reached that place, Rick, where we're going to be used to robots walking around or peeing in cups. Crazy. We've got to take a quick break here. When we come back, it's time for the good, the bad, the marketing. So don't go anywhere. Hey, Rick and Rick Nation, don't forget to check out our website at rickandrick.com. It's double the Rick in just one click at rickandrick.com. And welcome back to Rick and Rick Rule the World. Rick Matheson and Rick Wooten. Before we start our next segment, just a reminder that you can find Rick and Rick Rule the World on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, and a whole bunch more. Do us a favor and give us a 5-star review on Amazon. It helps others find the show. And between now and our next episode, Rick and Rick will donate $10 for every new 5-star review the show gets before our next episode, up to $50 to Feeding America. It's a nonprofit that helps food insecure families in the United States. So you can do us a solid and help neighbors in need in like 3 seconds when you give Rick and Rick Rule the World a 5-star review on iTunes. Now, the good, the bad, and the marketing, starting with a new test from Facebook to bring its insanely targeted advertising capabilities into Oculus virtual reality games. The ads are kind of like view them as posters or billboards within games, and at least for now, they feature other games as a way to help game developers make money from their creations. Now, Rick, you play Oculus games. What do you think about this? Do you think you would stop and look at an ad and click through?
I'm conflicted on this. So on one hand, if you're going to give me a free to play game and there's an ad in there, I expect it. If I've just paid 20, 30, $50 for a game, I'm not liking the idea that I have to be distracted with advertising. Sponsorship maybe, but advertising seems a little bit off to me. So I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest with you, from that perspective. Also, if I'm in the mode of a game, particularly on something like an Oculus where it's super immersive, the last thing I want to do is click out and try and go transact or to fill out a lead form or whatever. That's not something I really want to do. I don't think that's the right metaphor for it. Now I could be wrong, and we'll see. Like maybe selling hardware stuff like headsets and whatever might work. But it doesn't feel like it's a good user experience to me.
Yeah, that was my reaction, first reaction as well. I couldn't imagine stopping a game. Oh, wait, everybody, stop. Don't shoot at me. I want to go over here and look at this, poster or something and click through to it. I could see this kind of thing happening in casual games that are more like social media experiences in virtual worlds. I could see that kind of thing.
Yeah, and if this is a matter of, reach and frequency and brand impressions, that's probably one thing. Trying to, if it's interrupt marketing, I just don't feel like it's going to be the right experience.
Yeah, I could see the use case for a Pepsi ad or, other things that are just that brand exposure
Yeah,
for a great audience or a hard to reach audience. Interesting to
yeah.
see if folks do it. What else you gotta see, folks? I love this, Rick. This Nexus NX 4.6.
Yeah, so this was kind of a neat thing. They Lexus came up with this idea that they want to make a point about people and losing their attention, focusing on the road to look at their smartphone. And they've measured this, and they recorded videos and things like that, and they came up with the number. They said that on average, when somebody looks away to check something on their smartphone, their attention is off the road for 4.6 seconds. And so what they did is they invited people to come out and test drive their new hybrid NX SUV. I think they've had it around for a while, but there's like a new model of it or a new variant of it. Which by the way, just as an aside, they talk about this. when you're driving a car with a powerful engine, it's like,
Right.
are you talking about the NX? Like, doesn't that have
Right.
like a super eco, like,
Right. Right.
four-cylinder engine that has no power? What are you talking about? But anyways, that's an aside. Um, you know, and so they get these people to come out, and what they've done, and this is terrifying, what they've done is they've affixed. You ever been in a place where they have those windows that are clear and then you push a button, they go white?
Yeah.
And it's so that you don't have to roll down screens or whatever. They just have a liquid crystal somehow inside of it that makes them opaque. So basically they installed those in all the windows of the car, and so you're driving along in this closed course and you're driving through these foam barriers, like soft foam, so nothing dangerous. And then just at a random moment, boom, they hit the button, all your windows go white for 4.6 seconds. And for some people, it's absolutely terrifying. They're like, "Oh my god!" And of course, over and over and over again, you see them crashing into the foam objects. Some are shaped like walls, some are shaped like people, and things like that. Just really trying to drive home the point of it may seem like no big deal to check your phone really quick, but a lot happens in that 4.6 seconds, and that's kind of the basis of the
Yeah,
commercial.
I really love this. So, next up, will nostalgia be the biggest marketing trend of 2021? That's the question that ad company Latana asks in a recent blog post, citing a recent study from MRC Data exploring the effects of COVID 19 on entertainment choices that found more than half of consumers are finding comfort in old movies, old TV shows, and old songs from their youth during the lockdown. They quote a psychology professor at Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, who says generally people find comfort in nostalgia during times of loss, anxiety, isolation, or uncertainty. I'd say, well, that and ice cream and maybe a family sized bag of Doritos, but I digress. This was interesting. I don't know. Do you think nostalgia is going to be the biggest marketing trend of 2021?
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, and they cited a number of examples. There was the Coca-Cola one with the double take, them basically, running some old basketball tournament, March Madness stuff, and they dropped their
Yes,
ads in there. And then, my favorite one, of course, was the Pizza Hut nostalgia or nostalgia, where they're giving away a desktop arcade cabinet kind of thing. But I think these are good examples, and I've seen many more. I mean, this year we saw the Friends reunite, right? There was a special on that. We've seen a number of TV shows that have gone off the air a long time ago come back with specials. So I do think that that's been a big trend, and I get it. I get the idea where there's so much ambiguity and uncertainty and everything with what's been going on, that having something that and you trust and you've seen, and like you can anticipate the end result of. I can see people being very comforted by that, and if nothing else, we
yeah.
definitely all need to relax and like not be stressed out all the time. So I could see a lot of companies go this way.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. To be fair, this post was written in April, and seeing it now as the world at least kind of tentatively reopens, at least until the next big lockdown, I'm actually a little less certain of that. I think that it could be that, or it could be that it's, instead of reliving the past, I think that a marketing trend that could and maybe hopefully will take over is more along the lines of checking off the bucket list of things that you put off now that you can do it again. Either one could go that way. Certainly, the psychology behind this is spot on, and I think we've talked about it throughout the pandemic that that these types of people look for levity and nostalgia oriented content during times of stress, and so it very well could be the trend. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that maybe a little bit more forward-looking trend will take hold here in this summer.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.